Hey there! Today we're going to be talking about this pen. It was sent to me by Asvine. It's a new pen. They are launching, at least I should say, new material. They've had this model, the C2000, in ebonite, and now they have it in a stabilized wood. And I thought that would be kind of fun. So Asvine reached out to me, asked me if I wanted to review it. I have seen two finishes of these. There is this green, which I think is quite nice, and there is a red, which is also very attractive. And apparently these come with stub nibs too. Is that interesting? Yes, it is. A, because it's a stub nib, but B, because it's a number 8 sized nib. So that's quite interesting. I got mine with medium, and it writes really nicely. So I'm going to show you the parts of the pen. I'll do a writing sample, and I'll tell you what I like about it and what I don't like about it. But first, let me thank Asvine for kindly sending me this pen. I appreciate it. Now, let's get started. Okay, so here we go with the Asvine C2000. They come in these boxes, the Asvine pens. There's a cardboard outer sleeve, which is a little bit hard to open without ripping them to shreds. So typically, I end up just throwing those sleeves out. And then you have a fairly nice plastic box which you can use to put pens in or other pens or whatever. Now there is a fountain pen instruction manual. This is the manual. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Okay, so how to fill the pen. There's a little pen condom, and then there are some notes on how to use your pen and what not to do with it, which is useful because not everybody knows that. This could be someone's first pen. Okay, let's look at the actual pen. I shall zoom in so you can actually see it, and then I shall put it right next to a Pilot Metropolitan, and then I shall talk about it a bit. So there used to be ebonite versions of this particular model. And now they have made two finishes in stabilized wood, again a green and a red. This is obviously the green. It's kind of a mottled green. I think it's quite nice. These pens I think are quite nice. They have number 8 nibs, which is cool. And I asked Asvine, the feeds are plastic, so not ebonite. It's a cartridge converter filled pen. You can get the nibs in extra fine, medium, and 1.1 millimeter stubs. So I had to take a sip of tea. Mine is just a medium nib. They're just steel. And I couldn't find a price. I saw in Doug Rathbun's video, I think he mentioned $35.99, which I think is a steal for what you get with this pen. But maybe I got that price wrong. So I'm sorry. Right now they were sold out on Amazon, so I simply could not find the price anywhere. Okay, let's have a look at the parts of the pen. The finial on top is the same material as the rest of the cap. It really is quite a nice finish they put on there. Even has a bit of chatoyance, which looks quite nice, that shininess. We have what looks like a sort of Mont Blanc Hemingway style clip, which is nice and springy. And then here we have Asvine. There is no center band, which with wood can make me a little bit nervous. But there's no center band to keep everything in place. And on the back there it says C2000. Then we have the barrel, which tapers down and ends in a round top. Now that's quite nice because we have quite interesting, I should say. We have a round top on the barrel and we have a flat top on the cap. And I will come back to that in likes and dislikes. I am not bothered, but some people online are. So it's good to have that conversation. Okay, the pen opens up. There looks to be a liner in the cap, which is really nice. That makes me a little less nervous about the wood cracking. So that's amazing. Then we have a section. Now, the section is quite interesting on these pens. It's girthy. I'll hold it up next to a Pilot Metropolitan section. It's a substantial section, right? So quite girthy, and you really feel that as you hold it. Large pen overall. This section is completely straight. It may taper down a little bit, but the line is straight. It's not an hourglass shape, it's not a barrel shape, it's just straight. Then we have the nice number 8 nib, and maybe I should again hold up the sort of number 5 pilot nib. Big nib. I don't know who makes them. I don't know if these are the sort of Jinhao nibs. I don't know what they are, but they exist. Look quite nice. Sort of like fletching, it almost looks like, as on an arrow. It says M for medium and it says Asvine, and all of this looks like actual engraving, not laser engraved. Then you have that feed, which if you've seen some ebonite feeds, you may see why I was a little confused. I don't know how well the camera picks it up, but it kind of has that matte quality that ebonite can have, but I was told it's a plastic feed. Okay, you can open up the section, and then we have here a converter, also branded Asvine, and it's just a converter. There's nothing fancy about it. Note the, whatever this is, silicone or something, O-ring to keep the section in place, or the barrel in place, depending on how you look at things, so that things don't accidentally unscrew, and that does indeed create some additional friction as you close up the section. For those of you who enjoy posting, you can sort of kind of do it, but it's not super secure, and you get a behemoth of a pen. I don't know this is really worth it to anyone, so I wouldn't post it. And then there's also the fact that you have wood. I know you want to scratch that, so I probably just would not do it. But, you know, who am I? Let's see how the pen writes, shall we? With a medium nib, and the ink is Schaefer green, which to me is everything but green. It's more like a teal in my mind, but again, who am I? It is a nice ink, I thought, to match this pen, because I find this green is also slightly on the teal end, so I quite liked it. Bit of fast writing. Brown. Feed keeps up really well, and I found this to be a really pleasant, kind of wet writer, and I think that's borne out there. The medium nib, it might be me, it looks to me like it's ever so stubby, and that these downstrokes are a little broader than the side strokes, so take that into account. As always, very, very careful. It's not advertised as a flex nib. You can squeeze out a bit of line variation, but it's not a flex nib, so doing that means you may ruin your pen. However, people keep asking me to do it. I will do it, but it's not a flex nib. I don't know how else I can put it in a way that people understand. It's not meant to be flexed. Okay, reverse writing. Certainly, you hear the feedback increase, but it works, it's wet enough, and you definitely get a finer line. So if that is something that matters to you, you can, and that's kind of nice to have the option. Although I never use it, there are others who do, and I'm not the standard of everything. So let's discuss some likes and dislikes. What do I like? What do I not like about the Asvine C2000? Well, if you know me, if you've watched my videos for a while, you know that this pen does tick a lot of my boxes. For example, it's a larger pen. Sometimes size is not always a blessing, and I'll come back to what I mean by that in this case. But overall, a nice large pen with a nice proportional nib, which I think is very nice. I think if they would have gone with a number 6 nib on a pen this size, it would have looked disproportionate. So I'm happy they did what they did. I think the finish is pretty, both this one and the red one. I haven't seen the red one in person, but I've seen videos of it, I've seen it on pictures. It looks very attractive to me, so that I think is very, very nice. Very, very nice writer, and at the end of the day, that's what you buy a pen for. So very smooth, very pleasant, consistent ink flow, writes really nicely. So that's certainly something that I really appreciate and that really stands out to me. I struggle a bit to find a price online, because on Amazon they're currently listed as sold out, but I understood from Doug, you know, Doug Rathbun, that they're $35.99, which sounds very inexpensive to me. Now, I don't doubt Doug's word. I just haven't been able to verify the price. So if I'm wrong, then it's on me, because I misheard what he said. If they truly are that, it's an insane deal in my mind. A large pen, a large nib, a beautiful writer. I think that's insane if it were truly that price. So there we have it. And if it was a different price, then I'm wrong, and you can laugh. Okay, things I don't like so much. There are two things that stand out to me. One is a pragmatic user thing, and one is more of a design thing. When I just made that allusion to large is not always better, the section of this pen is very girthy. I don't have small hands, and you see that my fingers on top there are not really touching. I have to really squeeze them together to make them touch, and that's not very comfortable. This section is straight. There might be an ever so slight taper downwards, but the two sides are straight. There's no barrel shape or hourglass shape or anything along those lines. And I've found, therefore, that using the pen for a long period of time can give me some fatigue as I write. Now, maybe that's the way I hold the pen, but I can imagine if you were to have small hands, that might become a problem. So this might be a pen you really want to try out, maybe borrow someone else's before you buy it if you have smaller hands. I'm not sure everyone would find this comfortable. The final thing I will say about it is, and sorry, there are two things I want to say. My friend online, Andrew, actually said that he has had issues with stabilized wood in Chinese pens that's not always properly stabilized, and sometimes things expand a bit, and in his case a section got stuck in a cap. I haven't experienced that with this pen, but I haven't had it for multiple years, right? And right now it's fairly warm here. Where I live tends to be a pretty dry climate. There is snow in winter, but the air is very dry, so for us wood pens can crack. I'm not sure if expanding, which I associate more with moisture, but I'm not a wood expert. I don't know if that's really a risk here. In any case, something to look out for. Now, I've also seen Italian pens, good, like proper brand pens, made of Italian celluloid that wasn't cured long enough, and they warped and had caps that didn't open anymore. So it happens, but it's something to look out for. If it happens to this pen, I'll report back. The final thing, that's the design thing I wanted to talk about, is I noticed it, and a lot of people online noticed it. I was looking on the Reddit, etc. There's a mixture here of flat top and rounded barrel, and that's not for everyone. I have to admit, I'm not truly bothered by it, but I do see the point of make a choice, either have both ends flat or both ends round. This does look like an interesting mixture, and again, I certainly haven't lost any sleep over it, but it sounds like some people online have. And that's fine, because it's taste, right? But that's an interesting thing. So be aware of that. Be aware of that's a thing. And now you know. Okay, I hope that was useful. Let me know what you think of the pen, and let me know in particular if you're bothered by the flat top round end thing, because that seems to be quite divisive online, and I'm curious to take sort of a survey here. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it's been useful, and I'm glad to see you later. Bye.